Welcome back to What She Said Sports. All right. So we're gonna give everybody a minute because it took a minute for it's a buffer. Not sure why, but hey, we're here. That's what matters, right? Um, so y'all know Shedeur signed his contract yesterday, and we talked about his stats or whispered out there that they were how should I say? Shedeur stats. I'm not gonna say they were legit because we know who Shedeur was. Um, but they were proof that Shedeur been him. Words like phrases like Shedeur threw the ball with the touch of a 10-year veteran. And I'm thinking, yeah. And my mind immediately goes back to CU Pro Day. Uh, now I don't know if y'all remember, but remember all the hoopla. Oh, he's patting the ball, he's patting the ball. Remember that? So people are calling out, I think it was another QB, Jackson Dart. So is he patting the ball? Oh my God, oh my God. So that was just nothing. So now we can go back to the moment in time when the ridiculousness was ratcheted up a notch. And it was after CU's Pro Day. CU's Pro Day was April 4th. So CU's Pro Day, April 4th. After that, and it was the NFL channel because I remember we talked about it. We were asking, why did the NFL send those bobbleheads? I asked that question specifically. Why did the NFL send these talking bobbleheads to CU's Pro Day? And all they talked about was KO Ward, right? And that was hilarious because people liked it. A lot of people liked the comment, and people went in on the NFL network because of the negativity that the NFL network was putting out there about Shedeur. April 4th. And after April 4th, Cleveland went to dinner with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Now, it is said that Coach Prime attended that dinner. I don't know how true that is. But before Pro Day on March 31st, what was said, I shared it a few times in a video. The owner, Jimmy Haslam, said, we took a big swing and missed with Deshaun Watson, meaning that it didn't work out with Deshaun Watson. And we have to unbury ourselves out of that. And that was the threat that pivoted Cleveland away from Shedeur Sanders, or at least publicly. Because remember, Cleveland was publicly meeting with Shedeur. So when Andrew Berry had dinner with Travis, Shedeur, and Coach Prime, it was just dinner. That's what we have to believe. It was just dinner. And to be honest with you, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. So what I was, that's the timeline. I told y'all we keep it up with this timeline. People have been asking about the lawsuit. So I went and looked. There's an update. Um, it's still out there. It's still out there. So people want to know how that's going to go. And then Shedeur signed the $4.6 million contract. So what we were thinking about yesterday, we talked about how Shedeur's reputation for being a celebrity seems to be something the NFL takes issue with, and that they want to build him up. And I said, I think y'all are right. I think y'all are right. I think they want to build him up because that's where all of this, wow, he has impressive arm strength. So they tore him down. And right now they're trying to build him back up. But that's a change. That's a change because they were also trying to put him in his place. You didn't earn nothing, boy, like that. So we talked about the 360, the lawsuit. Now, there's probably numerous lawsuits. But one is in the stories, the headlines, and I was looking, going all the way back to May 12th. The LA Times reported the $100 million lawsuit filed by the Anonymous is no joke. That was on May 12th. Today is the 20th. So today is the 20th. May 12th, the $100 lawsuit is no joke. That's by the Los Angeles Times. That's a pretty big publication. Then we have, I think I saw, let's see, hold on one second. Here it goes right here. All right, so yeah, there it is right there. So, okay, it's making progress. All right. So let's see if we can share this. Hold on one second. All right, let me see. I'm gonna share the screen. I'll be down. My screen will be at the bottom. So, okay. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Okay. This is USA Today. All right, so this is USA Today. Okay, so it's out here. There's some information. Let's see. Okay, it's been less than a month. It's been less than a month. Shedeur Sanders uh, fell to the final day of the NFL draft to the surprise of many. He was expected to be a first round pick he went to the fifth round. That was a surprise. It was a shock of the event this year. Colorado fan is seeking $100 million in damages from the NFL. The fan filed a lawsuit on May 7th. So May 7th, the lawsuit was filed. May 12th, it seems that the LA Times said the lawsuit is no joke. So May 7th to May 12th. The lawsuit is no joke, and it is May 20th. Nearly 2 weeks later, they've now filed an emergency motion for early and targeted discovery. All right. So it's making its way somewhere. We have yet to hear a response from the NFL regarding, and I would imagine that the emergency request for targeted discovery has to make you take notice because you have to do something. If somebody asks you for something, you can't just be silent. You have to provide it or send a response on why you're not going to provide it. So we'll stay tuned. Stay tuned. For those of you that have asked, that is the update. It is out there. Uh, while we seemingly see the niceties coming from the NFL and the Cleveland Browns organization, we haven't seen any apologies. We haven't forgotten what happened to Shedeur. Coach Prime posted something today, his word of the day, just a few lines from it, of one line from it that stuck with me that says, protect your peace. If you're not happy, ain't nobody happy. And I told y'all, the timing of these words and how you look at it, it could be or it could not be relative to something that's taking place, but Shedeur did sign his contract. Protect your peace. If you're not happy, ain't nobody happy. So maybe he wouldn't be happy if he wasn't in the NFL. So I posted on Twitter yesterday. I said, uh, let's see if I can share it so y'all can see it. Okay, I think I can share it so y'all can see it. Hold on one second. Because I really had to think about, here it is. I had to think about this. He's signing his contract. He looks great. And people in the comments, not necessarily under my post, but previous posts, were saying that this is highway robbery. And make no mistake about it, it is. But like Coach Prime said, like Coach Prime said, protect your peace. Protect your peace. So maybe this gives him peace. He would be happy if he wasn't in the NFL. Remember, Shedeur is only, 23, 24, 23 or 24. That's young. It's young. We talk about the frontal lobe when it comes to decision making, and not that he's making a bad decision, but you got to know what you're signing up for. And I said, it seems Shedeur's love for the game of football and fulfilling his dream of being in the NFL is bigger than the disrespect. Is bigger than the disrespect that he's had to endure. So, you know, uh, it is what it is. And that's what that's what I had to say. Look, this young man is young. He wants to play ball. The lawsuit out there is a reminder of what happened on draft night. The timeline, May 7th, it was filed. May 12th, the LA Times said it's no joke. We're May 20th, targeted discovery, emergency filing. The lawsuit is a reminder of what happened. So I'm glad that, that's out there. I believe that there are others out there. I just think you don't know about it. I think seeing Charles Woodson become a member of the Cleveland Browns, not a member, but like a minority ownership stake, become a minority ownership in the Cleveland Browns, I think might have something to do with these lawsuits. Any pending legal action we may or may not know about. I think it's trying to make Cleveland look like they weren't being discriminatory against Shedeur. Somebody in the comments said that the NFL needs standard operating procedures when it comes to quarterback evaluations or draft prospect evaluations, that they just all willy-nilly with it. And that is what gives them the opportunity to be discriminatory. And they get to pick and choose, and they seemingly choose to discriminate against Black NFL QBs in particular. So the lawsuits are a reminder of what happened, and they should move forward. And Coach Prime's word of the day, protect your peace. If you ain't happy, nobody happy. Maybe that's why Shedeur went ahead and signed his contract, because, like I said, his love for the game of football is bigger than the disrespect that he's endured. In other words, I still want to play football. I know what happened is wrong. I know they robbed me. I'm sure, Shedeur grew up young and rich. I don't know if he faced racial discrimination before. I don't. Hell, there's some people in the comments that said, they may have, they may not, they don't know. But there's moments that you know. There's moments that you know. And there's enough research out there that shows you, yes, he did. Without a doubt. He knows it was wrong. Lamar Jackson knew it was wrong. Lamar Jackson knew it was wrong. Jalen Hurts knew it was wrong for them to hate on him after he went to the first Super Bowl and right before the game, the championship game before the Super Bowl. And they've been hating on him the whole time. CJ Stroud knew it was wrong for them to reveal his mental aptitude test results to everybody. Lamar Jackson, it happened to him too. He knew it was wrong. Doug Williams knew it was wrong. And then there's Tyrod Taylor. I think this will be year number 14 for Tyrod Taylor. It's just a brief touch I wanted to put out there that I learned about Tyrod Taylor. Apparently, he had a procedure done, and they punctured his lung. And he ended up suing for $5 million, and he won. So we're going to take a closer look at that tonight. Last night, we talked about Cornelius Lucas, and I gave you my analysis on his acquisition to the team. So tonight, we're going to take a look at Tyrod Taylor and look more into this incident with the punctured lung. Now, I did reach out to Tyrod Taylor, but remember, my channel's small, to find out why he stayed in the NFL after all he's endured. And it's really the same reason. I didn't hear back from him yet, but it's okay. It's what I came to understand. It's really the same reason that Shedeur Sanders probably signed his contract. These guys, their love of the game of football, it's crushing when it happens. But these are competitors. These are fierce competitors. And just like they're not going to let anybody make them lose, or they're not going to stand by and lose, they're just not going to let people push them off their path. Now, that's commendable. That's commendable. And for Shedeur to be so young, it's commendable. I like it. It's strength. And God did open that door for Shedeur. And we said he should be there until God opened another one, and he hasn't. Should we get excited about Cleveland clutching their pearls because they see something in Shedeur that's been obvious from Shedeur the entire time he was at CU? For sure. No. Because I believe it's performative, just like it is having Charles Woodson suddenly become minority stake in Cleveland. Yes, he's from Cleveland. Is Tom Brady from Vegas? Because I think he got minority stake in Vegas. And I don't know if he played for Vegas. But anyway, it doesn't have to be with the team that you play for. But with everything that's going on, these lawsuits that are out here, um, you know, I guess you could say social media. I'm not going to say the media, social media pressuring, consistently talking about what happened with Shedeur, the discrimination, the consensus of the talk is discrimination, racial discrimination, the prank, the disrespect, the humiliation. I think Charles Woodson's addition is to try to say that there's no racial discrimination where Cleveland is concerned. But this started with the NFL in itself. His phone number is sent out to 2,000 people. The data breach, the fine has never been paid by the NFL. To make Atlanta pay it is a farce because they didn't do it. To say the son of the prank caller, the son of the Atlanta exec was the prank caller is also a farce and false. It's not. It's that old misconnection that they act like we don't know is over there. That is the elephant in the room. Understand that. That is the elephant in the room. And then, so I'm not mad he signed his contract. I'm mad they robbed him. I'm not happy about that at all. Shedeur is doing what Shedeur is supposed to do. God, open the door, sign your contract, go out there and ball out. It's already working. You're showing who you are. The pressure is not getting to him. I'm sure he wants to have, he said, a little bit more fun in having to deal with all of this. Whether it's performative or not, there might be some respect in the building. I remind you, when his phone number was sent out to 2,000 people, that was all 32 teams and everybody that worked there, including equipment managers. Why would the equipment managers need Shedeur Sanders' phone number attached with the waiver wire? So the people that were making the joke are also in Cleveland. You see how that works? So what we're seeing on camera, the condescending message, and then now we're seeing the reversal. Is the reversal happening in the building? Because understand, he didn't get a warm welcome by the GM, and that's at the top in Cleveland. That's at the top of the hierarchy in Cleveland. And that's who sets the tone. So how was it in the building? You see what I'm saying? Maybe they didn't want cameras in the building so we couldn't see how they were treating Shedeur. Maybe they were being rude. Maybe they were ignoring him. Maybe they were snickering behind his back because he had a waiver wire attached. No, he has not made the team. Yes, he signed his contract. But then it is speculative that all of a sudden he's impressive. All of a sudden he handles the ball with the touch of a 10-year pro. I guess they're not talking about the tapping anymore. See how they walking back things? And all of this is happening in Cleveland, but make no mistake about it. This happened at the NFL level. The lawsuits address that, the NFL level. So, yeah, that's nice. Charles Woodson, I love the fact that he's a minority ownership. I think more of these teams, the Saints definitely need some. The Saints and the Giants. If not, because if you ask me, the Giants they need to sell. They just need to sell. And they might be infighting over there. But the fact that nobody has been fired after what came from the Giants organization, the association with the Ole Miss, the prank, the public humiliation, the defamation, that's just, I feel like if you just peel open an onion when it comes to the Giants, it's just probably deep and embedded in there. And when lawsuits ask for discovery, they want to see what you got. I would love to see what they have in New York. Emails, text messages, documentation, this notebook, this playbook, the whiteboard, the draft strategy, the communications about the draft strategy. Who was talking to who? Where did it come up from, all this defamation? The head coach, the quarterback coach, maybe the anonymous assistant. That's what targeted discovery is after. Maybe they can get their hands on the emails that people have that went out to 2,000 people. The one with Shedeur Sanders' name and a waiver wire attached. They should be able to get that. Maybe they could get the device itself or the contents of the device from the Atlanta Falcons executive who either had or didn't have a password. Yes, they've had time to destroy, in my opinion. But one thing about these devices, the information is still there. It's called recovery. So lawsuits still out there. still seemingly moving forward. Again, we hear about one, but I believe there are others. We see performative activity coming from Cleveland, where Shedeur is concerned. So we side-eye Cleveland in all aspects. We see Shedeur Sanders sign his contract. That's what he's supposed to do. He's there. No, we don't have to like what they did to him. We don't have to forget about it just because they're not talking about it. See, if you do that, what that means is you allow the media to think for you and tell you what you need to think about. When they talk, you talk. When they're silent, you're silent. That means they got you. I don't know if other platforms are talking about the lawsuits, but the digital print media is still out there. It's still there, and that's why I say that they are whispers. And the media seems to control what the narratives that are out there. So I'm not going to let them do that. I want to talk about what I want to talk about, what's relevant. I call it hot topics, but it's what relevant and what I know supporters of this channel want to talk about. What's going on with Shedeur? What's going on with those lawsuits? We like that he signed his contract. We want Shedeur to be happy. We want Shedeur to protect his peace because ain't nobody happy. If he's not happy, nobody happy. So if that makes him happy, it's commendable. Yes, it is commendable that he can withstand this type of pressure, but you got to know what you're getting yourself into. Because if the performative part is Charles Woodson coming in to make it appear, oh no, there's no discrimination here, that means there was. And if that's at the heart of everything, all these decisions to publicly humiliate from the draft, push him down, make no mistake about it, Shedeur Sanders is an elite QB1 who was pushed down to the 5th round. He's not a 5th round QB. Words matter. So, racial discrimination at the heart of how you're being treated. It don't change. It don't stop. See, that's the thing about it. It don't change. It don't stop. Performative comes on when somebody is in trouble. Lawsuits indicate trouble. Usually heads start to roll when lawsuits land in corporations because now they have to answer. I remember hearing an update. I didn't talk about it because it just wasn't any response. It was on somebody's channel or the news somewhere, and it said the NFL received the lawsuit, and there was no response at the time. That's what it was. So now we have an update. The lawsuit is still active, and they requested discovery, targeted discovery. Targeted indicates I want to see some things in particular. So you square off that box targeted, then you underline discovery. Those are your key phrases from most recent action. Targeted discovery. So for Shedeur to be so young, I don't know if he knows what he's getting himself into. Young people get discriminated against all the time. But Shedeur grew up wealthy. And while it does not free you from experiencing racial discrimination, where you go, who people know who you are, that's the sort of kind of thing that could possibly free you from racial discrimination. But who knows what he dealt with at CU. I remember when his Rolls Royce was booted. Anybody else remember that? People were like, oh, that was ugly. That if he was a white QB, that this wouldn't have happened. I remember that people said that. Let me know if y'all remember that. Thumbs up the chat if y'all remember Shedeur's Rolls Royce being booted. Now, that's what you call, that's not blatant, so to speak, because you can't just look at it and say it is. It's speculative. And then, everything he dealt with on the O-line, was he dealing with it because of Coach Prime? Was he dealing with it because of him? Again, Coach Prime has been used as a scapegoat so many times for people to hurl hatred at Shedeur Sanders. Because again, if you got a problem with Coach Prime, you take that up with a grown man, not a 20, at the time, 21, 22, 23-year-old who just want to ball out, who was built for this. There's a video of Coach Prime asking Shedeur, what's your last name? He says Sanders. He said, are you good? And, he goes on to say, I'm better than good. I'm great. Like that. He has been prepping him for this moment. So that's why he's not withering away under the pressure like somebody else who would just be totally caught off guard. I heard Shedeur say he saw what his dad had to go through. So he was built for this. He said, I'm a man. I can deal with this. Commendable. I love it. That's the person they should be embracing. That's the face of the league right there, whether you want it to be or not. And all of their, I guess you could say, hatred, humiliation hurled at Shedeur Sanders just have made him a bigger star. Now people who, I don't even know how you don't know who he is because of Colorado. There was a post going around with a content creator who typically say he watches Mississippi football. And he said, do you see what's going out there in Colorado? And it's so funny. I don't know if y'all seen it. It's funny. I got to get my hands on it and share it. But it was, we're in SEC is watching Colorado. That's what he was saying. And it was funny because he wasn't saying Colorado. He was calling it Colorado with that southern accent, I guess, from Mississippi area. And it's funny because he was like, do you see all these kids out here? Talking about the SEC is watching Colorado. And, you know, it was so funny. Thumbs up if you know what that is too. And the laugh emoji. But it goes to show you that they dominated. They dominated when it came to coverage. They dominated. They came in when Coach Prime said we coming. They did. They did. Because even the SEC was watching Colorado. So it's true, you know. But they faced a lot of hatred after they went 3-0. I swear, when they went 3-0, it was on. It was like people got to figure out what to do. The refs was in on it. It was crazy. Maybe just like the refs were fired in the NFL, the NCAA will distance itself from the refs that were actually prejudicial against Shedeur Sanders, because they truly were. Shedeur Sanders, I'm sorry, Colorado football. There you go. So I don't know how much he's dealt with it blatantly, like a young man walking down the street with a hoodie on with M&M's in his pocket. It's the same thing, but it looks different. It presents itself different. One is blatant, overt, and the other one is subtle. But it's still racism nonetheless. So when racism is at the heart of what happened with Shedeur Sanders in the draft, being a top prospect, we know he's good, but suddenly publicly humiliated like he's not shit. Then going over to Cleveland with a condescending phone call and, oh, you know, treat him like he a problem. Oh, yeah, a lot come with him, blah, 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 blah. We come here to work. That doesn't change, because if the racism is still there, they still feel the way they do. And that's where racism comes from, feelings, how I feel about you. I don't want your kind in my neighborhood. I don't want your kind here. So when they knew before the combine, the NFL does not want the kind of quarterbacks. They don't want that kind of quarterback. They don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur. They don't want that type of quarterback. They don't want that kind of quarterback like Shedeur. Can't turn a blind eye to the racism. You got to look into it. And that's where targeted discovery comes in. And then you get to see what people were really saying and what any of the responses were on the email that went out to 2,000 people with Shedeur Sanders' phone number and a waiver wire. But Shedeur Sanders is going to have to start to realize that this isn't about proving yourself. And because they're now trying to build you back up after they tore you down, after you had proven yourself, they tore you down. Now they want to build you back up. You don't want to get caught in that roller coaster cycle of them tearing you down and building you up, because then they're treating you like you have puppet strings. And he might have to come to the realization at such a young age that what happened to him was because he's Black, because he would be the 17th Black QB1 out of 32 NFL teams, giving them the majority. I heard somebody try to explain it away. I noticed they didn't have any likes. And when lawsuits pop out, you have to be vigilant of people sending people out to change the narrative. This is happening to Shedeur for another reason. It's because he's popular, because he's Coach Prime's son. They showed a side-by-side photo of Shedeur Sanders with the value of his 4-year contract somewhere around $4 some odd million, and Shiloh 2 point some odd million dollars. So under 3, under 5 million. And that's Coach Prime's sons. We already know Shiloh was snug. We know he was one of the better safeties. And we're hearing the same thing about Shiloh. His footwork is good, and it is. Did it get better with Coach Swayze? It did. So that's one situation. Then over here with Shedeur, touch of a NFL veteran. Coach Prime has a Hall of Fame staff, NFL staff. They play NFL style football. When they were talking about the Baylor game, we were watching it on Twitch yesterday, and they did the tush push. Shedeur was doing a tush push, and they would get Michael Welch in there for a touchdown to make the score 31-38 in overtime. They laughed. They said, that's the Philadelphia Eagles. Right. They also said in that game, Shedeur has just cemented his legacy here at Colorado with this game. Somebody said to me, the 2 is retired. He's turning the page. He's moving on. No, he's just doing what he wants to do and accepting what comes. The 12 came to him. He didn't choose it. We don't know if he would want it, if they offer it to him, he might find it in his locker. It wouldn't surprise me right now. Targeted discovery is a lot. And he might find it in his locker. Because playing keep away with his jersey, because you can't say every other rookie didn't get their jersey, because that's not true. The NFL Network, again, is out there on their own network with the negativity. Travis Hunter's wearing the 12 that he wore at Colorado, and then they flipped to Shedeur Sanders. Well, Shedeur Sanders, when you're the 5th pick in the draft, you don't necessarily have those options. You see? That means he's not elite. He doesn't get to choose. That is a lie. He definitely is elite. He should have his 2. So for the people who don't understand why fans are still wanting the 2, it's not because we like the number 2. We would like any number he's wearing. It's because they gave him 12 because they're trying to say you don't get to choose because you are a 5th round QB. You don't necessarily have those options. Shedeur is not a 5th round QB. He's an elite QB that was selected after being pushed down to the 5th round. That entire scenario is problematic because the negativity came directly from the NFL and it's documented. It's documented. All those lawsuits out there is documented. And with them continuing it while they're in rookie minicamp tells you the bullshit was continuing. They targeted Shedeur. Like Coach Prime say, protect your peace. If ain't nobody happy, you ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. He signed his contract, but he need to keep his head on the swivel. Because it's a lot of performative activity happening out there, because Shedeur may or may not be aware of what's going on behind the scenes, because he tends to distance himself from social media when he's locked in preparing for a game or camp in this scenario. So he need to keep his head on the swivel. All right, let's see what y'all talking about in these comments. Word is 2 staff members for the Giants were fired quietly. Not sure if it's related. Ooh, Newmark, if you know what that article is, please email it to me at what she said. What is it? What she said sports. What she said sports 404 or something. I don't know. It's in the bio. I can't remember my damn email address. What she said 404 at gmail.com. It said they want to step and fetch type players. Right, Priscilla. And that's wrong. And that's wrong. And that speaks to the long-standing ugly history of racial discrimination going all the way back to Doug Williams, because y'all know the book. It's called Quarter Black. Shameful. Yeah, it is shameful. Shiloh would have been a higher pick if he left the previous season. That's possible. That's possible, K. Hayes. I agree with that. I can see the difference and compartmentalize what's going on with Shiloh and what's going on with Shedeur. Shiloh's footwork is amazing. And he didn't have that, in my opinion, before Coach Swayze. And he had 80, but it was under 85. It was like an 80 or 81. So did Will Shepherd. So did Will Shepherd. But the guys that had closer to 85 and 90 are the ones, 100 are the ones that got drafted. Now, that might not be the case. And I can go sit down and look at Alabama because I told y'all I looked to see how many combine invites went out, how many got drafted in the first round to see if they had a lot of late round picks too, for most of their people. Like maybe they only got 1, 2, or 3, 4 in at the top, and everybody else came towards the bottom, like that. Because I can also tell, if the people who were rated the same as Shedeur and other programs, let's just be real, the SEC, and to me, that's where a lot of the hate from Coach Prime is coming from, the SEC. They ain't landing too, but but it's really the SEC. Understand that. Hey, it's him wearing a smile. I mean, political ill, we have to extend grace to Shedeur because he's young. And this has been his dream. And this is not easy. It's not easy. And that's why I say you have to know what you're signing up for. Because this is one of those situations. Okay, I thought about this before I clicked live. The reason why I say you have to know what you're signing up for, and you have to understand, with this coming from a place of racism, you have to understand Lamar Jackson has still not gotten his Super Bowl. He has been colluded against 2 on the record, possibly 3 times. If you want to go down that road of the snub with Emmanuel Acho changing his vote, this, that, and the other. Emmanuel Acho, also the same analyst who was antagonizing Deion Sanders Jr., right? Deion Sanders Jr. about Jackson Dart being the second quarterback off the board because they already knew targeted discovery will be very useful here. So whether Giants people were fighting, I did say there was some infighting, whether they were fired, I'm going to have to look into that. We're going to have to extend grace to Shedeur. He's young. He probably never been in this situation in his life. No matter what the hatred hurled to him at CU, he probably saw it because of Coach Prime. But this right here, as he gets older, as he take a look at it, as he talk to more people, as he hear more things, he'll realize that he was targeted because he will be the 17th of 32 Black QBs. And the reason why the Giants were so defamatory is because they have never had a Black starting quarterback and clearly did not want one and went through lengths to make sure that they didn't get one. And one was not forced upon them in the same manner that we heard Mike Tomlin is advised to draft Shedeur Sanders as QB2, QB2, and put him behind Aaron Rodgers. Yada, yada. That's what the Giants didn't want. The Giants didn't want to be advised to draft Shedeur Sanders as QB2 because they know he's going to become QB1 because they knew who they wanted to draft. Imagine this scenario playing out in New York. Imagine the 2 QBs being drafted instead of in Cleveland, in New York. And instead of Dylan Gabriel, it's Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders. And they have every intent of drafting Jackson Dart, but then they were forced to take Shedeur Sanders. What's happening in Cleveland right now? It's being said that Shedeur, a few days ago, wasn't even on the depth chart. But as well as he's done in minicamp, like it's new to them, which means they're exposing themselves. All that legwork y'all been doing, them scouts, y'all might as well stop the combine then. Y'all might as well stop the scouts. Y'all might as well stop the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, and coming out to the school every week and showing up in droves at CU Pro Day and the first game. 31 NFL scouts and executives were at CU's home opener. And now you're clutching your pearls. All of that was a waste of everybody's time then. That must have just been for optics, and everything y'all got paid needs to be paid out in these lawsuits because clearly y'all didn't do no work. If you clutching your pearls or you trying to tell us and everybody else, we need to build you up. Leave what you have at the door and let us build you up. But see, here's the problem. Nobody else was torn down other than Shedeur. No one else was publicly humiliated other than Shedeur. So Shedeur was targeted. And those lawsuits that are out there is a reminder of that. And what we're seeing is performative. And I said there was likely infighting in New York. And if people quietly got fired, I'm not surprised because Charles Woodson quietly has bought ownership stake into the Cleveland Browns. You see what I'm talking about? The performative taking place everywhere, that means those lawsuits have teeth. They have legs. That's exactly what that means. That's exactly what that means. So now Shedeur is supposed to be when regular mini camp starts and everybody's all back together, I guess the vets or whatever, it looks like he could earn a spot as number 4. So who get ready to go? So people quietly getting fired, quietly getting ownership stakes in the teams that were directly involved with the public humiliation of and defamation of Shedeur Sanders. So now there must be a quiet trade getting ready to happen, or trade talks are happening quietly. He gonna make it to number 4 on Cleveland's depth chart behind who? Behind Joe Flacco? Behind Dylan Gabriel? Behind Deshaun Watson? People are saying they think Kenny Pickett is going to end up in New Orleans. I did read articles because somebody pointed it out here yesterday that Shedeur Sanders might end up in New Orleans because there's conversation happening, and that is true. And that is true. My question is, I wonder why he just signed his rookie contract. Was there something going on? They needed to see some change. I told y'all, it's a couple of things happening here. It's a couple of things happening here that Stefanski was sent out to do the 360 about face. Oh, yeah, he was raised right. That was a nod to Coach Prime, too. So something's been going on. I told y'all, it's several scenarios happening here. But make no mistake about it. It might be several pressures coming from behind the scenes to get yourself together. But it's only one thing you need to get yourself together about, and that was you targeting Shedeur Sanders in the multiple ways that you did. And clearly some things are being handled, but it is performative. And you got to know what you're dealing with when it comes from a place of racism. Therefore, you got to keep your head on the swivel and keep your people around you, because desperate people do desperate things. We're going to talk about Tyrod Taylor having his lung punctured and celebrating his 14th year in the NFL. So, Shedeur's doing what Shedeur's doing. He's doing good. We're not surprised by that. I just think, y'all, it depends on how much you expose to this scenario. It's starting to imagine a desk, if you will, with a pack of folders in multiple different colors, and you just throw them up in the air and they just land scattered on the desk, and you begin to shuffle them and organize them together, and you could kind of see a pile begin to immerse. That's what's happening here. But the pile is everything that was done to Shedeur during the NFL draft and his initial time in Cleveland, and it's becoming apparent. The pile itself is becoming apparent. So making it up to number 4 on Cleveland's depth chart, that ain't good enough, because he was supposed to be QB1, and is he going to get his money? Let's not forget about that. Now, I will tell you this. Fans are not happy about that. They don't care about him signing his contract and wanting to play football, but they are not happy about him being robbed. But clearly that is not anything he can fix in his moment. That is a battle that's going to have to be had, and I do believe that battle, there are boots on the ground. There are boots on the ground, and that battle and those boots are moving. They are moving. So let's extend some grace to the young man. Let's celebrate that he's happy. See, I told y'all, we just got to be happy that he's happy. And that's all we can do. That's all we can do, because if we're not instrumental in anything that's going on behind the scenes, the pressures that are out there, the pressures to do right, get it right, fix it, amend it, and restitution, pay this man, there's nothing we can do about it. We can talk about it. We can keep updated on what's going on, but we have to give this young man grace. And honestly, we have to be honest about it. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to put up with this type of behavior at such a young age. Frontal lobe is not fully developed till 25. It takes a lot of oomph to not let people push you off your path. especially at that young age, but at any age. It takes a lot of path to have the courage to keep going when you know people don't want you somewhere. It has a lot of courage to stay in the building or on the field when people, you know, people don't want you there. He knew that they were being rude and condescending. He didn't let it get to him. I think Shedeur probably is the closest adaptation of his father. I really do. I really do. But like he says, since I was 5 years old, I've seen what my dad has gone through, what he's had to endure. So that struggle that he witnessed is now something he's going through, and he's not gonna let it stop him. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. You just got to know what you're dealing with, and I think he might, especially when he looks at what happened where his dad is concerned. So, you know, we'll just see what's continuing to go on with him. Like I say, I think for the most part, everybody just starting to side eye Cleveland because of the performances. And you know what that means? Nobody's buying it. That's what it means. Nobody buying what y'all selling. Nobody's buying what y'all selling. I don't know how y'all feel about if Shedeur end up in New Orleans. Some people say Shedeur goes to New Orleans, Kenny Pickett goes to New Orleans. But let's say if Kenny Pickett goes to New Orleans and Shedeur ends up at 4 on the depth chart. Is that good enough for a elite QB1 who was supposed to be a first-round draft pick? No. Kenny Pickett in New Orleans is not a remedy. Shedeur should not be fighting for anything at number 4. So him making it up to number 4 is not a consolation. It doesn't fix the situation. It doesn't amend the egregiousness that took place on draft night. Shedeur Sanders was a lock at first round. He need his first round money, and he need his first round treatment like the rest of them. And if Cam Ward is not out here competing with 3 other people, neither should Shedeur Sanders. So it's not fixed. Moving up from 5 to 4 does not fix it. It doesn't fix. And fans are right to stand here like this, waiting for Cleveland to get like, okay, we waiting on you to fix it, because that's not gonna fix it. Did you give him his money? Did you publicly apologize to him? Did you put him on a team where he can start? Because that's what we were all expecting, because that's what you've been telling us for weeks. So we standing here with our arms folded, looking at Cleveland like this. Hey, Kimberly, how you doing? When do Cleveland Browns OTA start? May 27th. May 27th. Beast, that's what I looked into, but you could Google it if you want to. Yo, hey, Bumpy, how you doing? Hey, Gracie, welcome, welcome, welcome. They take issue, but yet they exploit that celebrity. Yep, because it's not the celebrity. He was in their celebrity football game, Super Bowl weekend, so they're not worried about his celebrity. They invited him there because of his celebrity. Saying the celebrity, saying it's Coach Prime, those are masks. Those are masks to hide behind the reality that Shedeur Sanders was going to be, if drafted in the first round, 17 of 32 Black QB1s, Black starting quarterbacks. And just like the Giants went through great lengths to make sure they didn't have to have him in their organization, whether it was QB2 or QB1, the NFL went through great lengths to make sure Shedeur Sanders was not the 17th of 32 Black starting quarterbacks. Because I told y'all, Black quarterbacks don't make up the majority of all quarterbacks in the league. Only a small part out of a big fish, big ocean. And for those, that small 25% to now have risen to more than half of all starters on NFL teams with Shedeur Sanders at 17, that's why this is happening. Those folders on the desk are starting to form into a pile. We can now start to see that Cleveland went through great lengths because they've never had a Black starting quarterback, and they didn't want Shedeur to be that guy because that's who he was supposed to be. How many times did they tell us that with the mock drafts that they did incessantly? Shedeur going to Cleveland, Shedeur going to Cleveland. Well, I mean, Shedeur going to the Giants, Shedeur going to the Giants. The Giants bought into it. Maybe they felt like it was going to happen, and they've never had one. So they defamed them so they don't get one, and they could justify not getting an elite QB when their jobs are already on the line for fumbling Saquon Barkley. And then the other issue, the NFL didn't want Black quarterbacks to become the majority, meaning more than half of the starters on 32 NFL teams. So it's not a coincidence. Not only did they go through great lengths to keep Shedeur from ascending to number 17, He was number 17. Understand that. 16 was Cam Ward. 17 is Shedeur. 18 would be Milroe. So the NFL itself went through great lengths to buy into the defamation and to use it against Shedeur Sanders to say, take that entitled so-and-so off the board and pass out his phone number to 2,000 people, which made that prank happen. Those lawsuits have teeth and legs. Next, they're going to have arms and mouth and feet. So, two issues are glaringly emerging. The Giants, the NFL, right here at the center. Imagine what they say, like in the Olympics, you have first place, second place, and third place. First place taking the gold, the NFL. The plot to prevent quarterbacks like Shedeur. They don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur. So they go through great lengths to make sure that Shedeur is locked out of the first round. Second place, the Giants. After hearing incessantly and probably hearing chatter and being afraid because they know teams are forced to take certain people. Maybe Cleveland was forced to take Deshaun Watson. Maybe we already heard they were trying to advise Mike Tomlin to take Shedeur at QB2. There's your clue right there. Why he had to take him at QB2. Why he couldn't take him at QB1. It's the first round. Because the NFL doesn't want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now. The NFL doesn't want that kind of quarterback. It don't take rocket science. And then third place, emerging in the shadows, becoming ever more clear every day. Even with Charles Woodson getting a minority ownership stake after the condescending phone calls, after making it seem like he too much and he's not elite, and that his skills are outdated because Andrew Berry said, and it's documented. Well, he's more like a retro style QB. An older type style QB, like he old school, like his skill set is outdated, so we got it for cheap. He actually thought about that lie. When Jackson Dart and Tyler Shaw are both pocket passers, and they moved Shedeur Sanders and Milroe out the way so they could usher up two white QBs and prevent Shedeur Sanders from becoming number 17 of 32 black starting quarterbacks, QB1s. And it worked, because it stopped at 16 after Cam Ward. There it is. I want Cleveland to trade Shedeur. Elijah, there's a lot of people. I'm rooting for Jacksonville. I'm rooting for Jacksonville because I heard Jacksonville and I liked it. And when I saw the 12, I was like, hey, maybe that's a sign that he's going to Jacksonville. I don't know. That's what I said. Some fans are still happy about the possibility of New Orleans, but the point is, there's a lot of fans. There's a lot of fans that Shedeur Sanders do not want Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. Because why? Cleveland have already demonstrated they were keeping up the entitled bullshit. They were demonstrating they were keeping up he's a lesser skilled QB. His skill set is not desirable. That's why we haven't seen Andrew Berry since. And that's why Charles Woodson has been whispered out. That means that they really didn't want to do that. They had to do that. That's what that means. Because you would celebrate something like that. Charles Woodson is a legend. Everybody knows it. There are people who weren't around when he played. But if they study football and they know who the greats are, they know who Charles Woodson is. And if they lived in Cleveland, Ohio, that's awesome. And there are going to be some people that say, oh, well, they could have did that because they're trying to buy a stadium and maybe where they're trying to put it or who they need to vote for it or whatever. I'm like, no, because if you wanted the stadium for real, like one, you would have got Travis and Shedeur, and that would have locked that right on up. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Cleveland drafted Shedeur and Travis. Would have locked up a new stadium. They could have got anything they wanted because finally they did something that puts them in a position to win. And it stops the revolving door of quarterbacks. Unless that revolving door is manufactured. And we just only going to get you for 2 years. Because that's what they're doing with the O-linemen. The priority should be they could have got rookies out the draft to grow with the QBs, Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur or anybody else. But that's not what they did. They went with 1 year here, 2 years here, and they didn't go with starters. They didn't go with starters. So he's 23. Okay, Kimberly, he's 23. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's young. That's young to be going through this type of, this not even adversity, this type of racism. It's young. I guess he worked position for years for the position and he wants to take it. It's probably hard to just walk away. Yeah, it's not just that too. It's also being not letting people push you off your path. So yeah, K Hayes, I don't know if it's hard to walk away or not. Now I did, it could be for him. I did see the clip with them in Vegas, them being Shedeur and Cam. Somebody told me to go watch it. I saw the clip with Shedeur and Cam in Vegas, and Cam said we should start our own pro league, like. And Shedeur's response was, so this to K Hayes' point. Nah, man, I love the NFL too much. So maybe he wants to see it. Oh, maybe he'd rather look at it through the lens of, well, they did this to my dad, and look how it turned out for my dad. It turned out great, so I'm not gonna let them stop me. Rather than the reality of what it really is. So they really need him on their side. Cleveland Browns OTAs is May 27th. Thank you, Val C, for posting that. What she said, greetings. Hey. Salafi, thank you. Really, Queen. Fourth string, really, yeah. What's up, fam? Hope all is well. Hey, Political Lil. Well, you can't win. He's not in it. You can't win if he's not in it, right? Political Lil, Shedeur is fourth string. Yeah, that's crazy. Brady is from California. Okay, so buying into Vegas had nothing to do with the fact that Brady played there or not. That's what I was wondering. Okay, we have a lot of millionaires in the community. They need to start their own league in time. Yeah, I don't even think you need to be a millionaire. I think the reason why I say Coach Prime should do it, Robin, is because he's proven, like he said, everywhere he go, he's proven that he can bring people to gravitate to Jackson State. He's proven bring people who are not familiar with Colorado to Boulder. All the celebrities, and not just celebrities, but he brought fans from Florida. He brought fans from Jackson State. I saw vloggers from Jackson State driving, and they did road trip, and they vlogged the whole thing to Boulder. I know I left Georgia 17 hours to the Alamo Bowl in San Antonio, and there were people sitting on my same row from Atlanta, and I didn't know them. So that's the kind of reach and pull that Coach Prime has. So if you can do that for Jackson State, if you can do that for Colorado, you can do that for yourself as a pro league and for the rest of these guys, so they can actually have a pro league who's elite, who can pay them handsomely, because it can be done. It can be done. And then what? Be respected as Black men, because that's what's missing in the NFL. It's too many cases of the discriminatory behavior against Black quarterbacks. But then the most astounding in 2021, settling a $1 billion lawsuit with a beat for race norming, saying that Black NFL players, including quarterbacks, Black NFL players have lower cognitive functioning than white NFL players. Therefore, Black NFL players are inferior to white NFL players. Therefore, Black people are inferior to white people. And their hiring practices show you that they believe that that's what they believe. Look at who they hired. You saw those green rooms. They can't lie about the things that we can see. Absolutely. So when they're clutching their pearls and saying, oh my God, he has an impressive arm strength. Oh, OMG, he has the touch of a 10-year veteran. All of the defamatory statements are being walked back. He taps the ball, and that came from the NFL. That didn't come from nobody else but the NFL, because they were the ones commentating at CU Pro Day. And I pointed out Bucky Brooks and two other guys. Bucky Brooks is also the same guy that pulled Shedeur Sanders to the side at Shrine Bowl and interviewed him and said, we got to do this sort of thing for clicks. And that's when Shedeur was saying, yeah, my dad told me that this comes with it. And I was like, it don't come with it for everybody. And see, that's how people get comfortable, because you see Bucky Brooks, the one tearing him down. Oh, this is normal. No, it's not. They seem to always trot out a black person. Michael Strahan telling the rookies, mostly black, standing near him, your New York Giants coaches love you. What? Not after what they did to Shedeur. Oh, that's just Shedeur. That's what that was about. Charles Woodson, New York. Cleveland. Oh, well, they got black people in their organization. Do they? Andrew Berry's supposed to offset. Charles Woodson's supposed to offset Andrew Berry. I saw a story that said a post actually. People are commenting Shedeur Sanders' low salary being robbed. It's to offset Deshaun Watson's contract. No, because the question is now, was Deshaun Watson forced in Cleveland? Were they forced to give him the only fully guaranteed contract in the NFL between $230, $240 million, $45, $46 million a year because of some kind of cover up? Because essentially they gave him all the money back from those lawsuits that he settled and then some. And he on their roster and he can't even play this year because they got the insurance money, which means they had money to draft Shedeur Sanders. So when the owner came out and said on March 31st, we took a big swing and miss to the media, that was a threat to the GM. We didn't do so good with Deshaun Watson getting him. He turned out to be a dud. So we're not about to get a number 2 QB, as Matt Schefter had reported. And then Matt Schefter comes right back on April 2nd. Well, not so confident they're not going to get a quarterback with that pick no more. So it changed. You could see when it changed, the dates. That's what timelines are for. Timelines establish everything and can point out what the intent was. So with these lawsuits moving forward, the pressures coming from directions we can't see, potentially people possibly being quietly fired out of New York, which I'm looking into that. And then we have over here performative art from Cleveland, where Shedeur is concerned, like they don't know who he is. And Charles Woodson coming on in, a good congratulations, Charles Woodson and his family. You starting to be able to see that there's something out there that's making the NFL do things that they clearly didn't, that they're trying to answer to something. They're trying to prepare for something. They're trying to position people in places and move people out the way so they can have their story together on what it really is and what it's really not. Oh, well, we fired them because, they was wrong for doing that to Shedeur Sanders. Oh, yeah, we hired him because we thought it'd be good to have him in the organization. It's not racist. But see, they just settled a $1 billion lawsuit for racism in 2021. It's only 2025. That's going to be a tough sell. And then when you look at the history in totality, go back to Doug Williams, how he was publicly berated at practice. You can't close the door on that. You got to open it and start talking about it now. Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud. A lot of the things that we see, we find egregious. Imagine what's really happening within those walls of these organizations. How these people are carrying themselves, what they are really saying. Because if you had the guts to send out one man's phone number to 2,000 people all over the NFL, it's only it's a little over 6,600 NFL employees globally. It's only about half of that in the US. Phone number went out to 2,000 some odd people, or 1,970. All 32 teams plus the equipment managers that did not need to know you thought it would be funny to attach a waiver wire and make a joke about a person to about 2,000 people. Is that the culture? Is that what y'all do? CJ Stroud's test was also passed around. So was Lamar Jackson. Is that your culture? Is that what you do? Targeted discovery. Let's see what we get. Let's see what they come back with. Let's see what we find out. Let's see what else is out there, because something else is out there. Oh, political ill. Thank y'all. Y'all give it up for the moderators. Y'all give it up for the moderators, and please get the likes up. 74, 54. Can we get everybody else to just take a minute and hit the like button? Hit the like button. Thank you. Now, this was awesome to talk about this today. It's lunchtime, and our people got to get back. So we're going to begin to wrap it up. Yesterday, we were live on Twitch for an hour. We watched the last 2 minutes of the Baylor game. If you have the Twitch app, it's free. Go download it. Follow What She Said Sports. Today on Twitch, we are watching the UCF Colorado game. One of the most complete games for Colorado last year. From front to end, we were supposed to lose it. We were supposed to lose the game. We end up annihilating UCF. And RJ Harvey, I think, got drafted as a running back to either Seattle, Denver, or somewhere on the West Coast. Y'all know RJ Harvey. So a lot of people that we, became friends of, that we took a liking to during the season, some of them got drafted. Remember Henry Blackburn, the guy that with the late hit on Travis Hunter? Henry Blackburn got invited to minicamp. He didn't get drafted. He got invited to minicamp, I think also somewhere on the West Coast. So as I find out about people that we played, I'll share it with y'all on if they were in this draft class, where they went. But RJ Harvey was that running back, that guy. We were like, man, that dude is, huge or whatever. And they were like, Colorado not gonna be able to stop the run, yada, yada, yada. And we did. So we're gonna watch the UCF game on Twitch. Join us on Twitch. Get the app. I don't know what time. Get the app. Follow What She Said Sports and turn on notifications. And I know Shiloh and Shedeur are on Twitch too. Y'all can follow them as well. Turn your notifications on because we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. All right, y'all. We're going to get ready to get out of here. I'll read a few more comments. Political Ill is holding it down. Gracie holding it down. Thank you. Elijah said, I was so bad. I forgot to hit the like button. That is so funny. Kimberly, how you doing, Kimberly? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for the thumbs up. His dad probably told him he's dealt with the NFL. He knows the games they play. Yes, I agree, K. Hayes. I agree. And with his dad going through the same thing, Kay, and not staying with it and it working out for him. That's how you know Shedeur is gonna stay. So that's good. But as fans, we want Shedeur to go somewhere that he could start. We don't want to sit here and have to mull through the foolishness of him as a fifth string QB trying to make a team to fourth string. No. We want this fixed stat. And we want that young man to get his money. This is not just about seeing him play. This is about him being treated with respect. And this is about them remedying and making things right and amending the egregious humiliation that was clearly orchestrated against him and targeted him. We have to stop dealing with plantation mentality. I agree. Hopefully somebody behind the scenes is working on something. Just watching him be so joyful and happy has dissipated some of my anger. Yeah, I agree, Kate. I mean, I agree. Word is to staff members. Oh, from the Giants. Okay, Newmark, I don't know. I hope you can email that to me, but that's awesome. But I'm going to look into it. They want step and fetch it. Yes. That's what they're trying to relegate these guys to. The NFL is very protective of its ownership group. They don't let everyone in. That's why it's on their heads. They will let them in. Right. So, and that's facts, Kay. Because why? That's why we know that Charles Woodson going there is something that raises an eyebrow. Not that it's bad, but we know that that's not an easy road to climb. And suddenly with the time, Hey, Tuna, how you doing? Kimberly said, we want Shedeur to be where he is celebrated, not tolerated. That's the motto. That is the motto. That is it. Thank you for that, Kimberly. Let's see if I can pin this. Yes, we're going to pin that message because that is it. We want Shedeur to be somewhere he is celebrated and not tolerated. Exactly. There it is. Political Lil said we have to educate our children about the system we live in, how it operates, and how to operate in it. Agreed. So that they are not shocked when the system activates to limit our progress. This is what we are seeing. Exactly. 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 I don't know if I can pin two messages. I like both of those. All right. So we're going to get out of here, everybody. We appreciate it. It was awesome. It was awesome. Get the likes up. If you've got to hit the like on the way in, hit the like on the way out. We'll catch some of y'all on Twitch, whoever has the Twitch app or can download the Twitch app and wants to watch us analyze, watch, and have fun watching the UCF game, the most complete game of Colorado's 2024 season. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports.